everyone. I'm Jean Hansen, your host at cleaningbiz.tv, and we have a new episode for you with a guest, Melissa DeLay of True Perception. And I'd like to thank you for joining me today and taking some time out of your day to join me.
Well, thanks for having me, Jean. I'm very excited to be here.
All right. So Melissa and I met probably about a year ago, and I've gotten to know her over the last year, and I realized this summer that she is really an expert at communication, and in particular dealing with difficult situations in the workplace. And I thought, you know, she's got a lot of great stuff that could really help our audience and our members. And so I asked her to join me today to talk about this. So one of the things that we want to talk about is workplace conflict, whether it's with a customer issue or dealing with employees, which we know we all have both problems that we have to deal with every day.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, so Melissa's going to give us some really great tips on this. Now, one of the things that I realized as a new manager when I started my career way back is that I wasn't really given any really good tools on how to deal with difficult situations. And I would have to talk to an employee about something, and I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to approach it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think one of the issues with communication in general is we've all been speaking since we were 2 years old. So it's very difficult as an adult to feel like this is something I am struggling with. Who could I ask to help me? Because if I haven't figured it out by now, boy, do I have problems, right?
Right.
And we're also brought into the workplace with individuals who maybe have learned how to communicate in a way that's detrimental to themselves and to others, but they're seeing that modeled and they don't know any different. And so we begin to pick up sort of bad habits about how we communicate with others and what we say and how we say it. And sometimes we have some luck, maybe, and it works out. So we think, okay, rinse and repeat. But unfortunately, there really is a science behind how do you speak in a particular way when it's any kind of bad news or controversy or conflict that really will help preserve your reputation, keep your business running smoothly, and help employees feel good about the conversation and productivity levels high.
Okay, so we get a lot of questions from our members, and a lot of times the questions come after the fact.
Right.
And they say, okay, my employee came to me with this, and I didn't know what to do. How am I supposed to handle this? And I just had a member call the other day, and she had an issue with a customer. They did a detail clean. She admittedly missed a couple things. They called up. She's like, you know what? I did forget that. I will come back in the morning and I will finish. And she took care of the things that didn't get done. She laughed, and then she got this irate phone call, and he said, you didn't do this, this, and this, and all of a sudden there was this laundry list of things that he wasn't happy with, and he wanted a full refund. It just escalated, and it got very heated, and she just was really upset.
Yeah, and one of the things that we do when we have a scenario like that is we immediately want to say that we're sorry. We immediately want to accept some blame. And there's a reason why that makes sense, because we have been taught the customer's always right. Mm-hmm. And we have got to tell the customer, hey, you're right, I'm wrong, I did this, and I'll come and I'll take care of it. And I want you to continue to have a mentality that the customer deserves as much respect and attention and focus as possible. But the idea of the customer is always right really is detrimental to how we run businesses, because if the customer was always right, none of us would make any money, right? Because they're all going to ask for refunds, and they're all going to say that our prices are too high, and that's not going to be beneficial to us. So we have to really strike a balance. One of the strategies that I use with business owners is to allow yourself to think objectively. There's my side of this situation, and there's the customer's side. There's my side of the situation, and there's the employee's side. And when I look at both sides of every equation and I address them together in a comprehensive way, everyone comes out better. So with this particular situation, what I would recommend to the business owner is to use a different starting phrase as opposed to, oh, you're right, I did that wrong, I messed up, which automatically lowers the perception that another person has of you. Even if your intent is to be humble. Your intent is to be submissive and sacrificial. It does the opposite. It shows them that really they're coming from a position of power and you're not on equal footing, and it becomes problematic. And so instead, one of the phrases that I would recommend for this business owner is to say, my intent in coming and performing the work was to hit all of the elements, this room, that room, under the carpets, under the bed, around the windowsills, whatever the itinerary was for that day. That was my intent. And if there was a way that I could have done that, I would have. It looks like I need to come back and I need to be more thorough and I need to make this right for you, and I will. So it's just a little nuance of how we talk about it, because now I know that you have every intent of doing the right thing and satisfying all of my needs if I'm the customer, but you haven't put yourself in a position where now all of a sudden I feel like I can attack. I feel like you're a little weaker, and if I had anything in the back of my mind that I wanted to throw at you, now I might do it because you've shown me that we're not really on equal footing, that I can sort of come after you. And so it's a precaution. It's a way to hold your own reputation in high regard at the same time that you hold your customer's reputation in high regard.
Right, okay. So let's talk about an employee situation.
Mm-hmm.
I just had someone email me again, another situation where she's got two employees that are kind of at each other's throats.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one, this happens in the cleaning industry. If they're working in teams, one isn't pulling their weight, the other feels like they're doing all the work. And so she's not sure how to approach both of them. Do I talk to them together?
Mm-hmm.
Do I talk to them separate? What do I say?
Yeah, and what I like about this particular example is this is one of the examples that we used in the workplace conflict starter kit. And so in the program, I have identified exactly what you say word for word in a situation like this, but let me see if I can paraphrase for your listeners now. One of the things to keep in mind with employees, there's two things that make them tick. One is they need to believe that the company that they work for cares about them as a person. And two, they need to believe that their individual contributions, what they're doing on a day-to-day basis, rolls up into something bigger. Because I need to know that the work that I'm doing matters. And if I know that the work that I'm doing matters, I'm going to be more productive. I'm going to work harder. I'm going to be loyal to you as a business owner. And I'm going to speak favorably about you to others. All of these things are what we want as business owners. And so when there's controversy and you have two employees that are bickering or there's any type of unprofessionalism going, I want you to keep those concepts in the back of your head. They have to believe that I care about them as an individual and that the work that they're doing matters. And if you use that lens to articulate and craft any of the messages that you're thinking about sharing with an employee, you're always going to come out better. In this particular situation where you have two individuals, anything you can do to bring the conversation into the forefront and have transparency is preferable. I recommend always to bring groups together and give everybody a platform at the same time. There's something to be said for maybe if I take this person off and I talk to her, and then I take the other person off and I talk to them, maybe I can use my influential skills to get them to be nice and play in the sandbox in the way they want. But usually that'll backfire on you, because they're going to give you information now that is going to slant how you might address the situation, because the other person isn't there to defend themselves. Right. And so instead, if you keep everything transparent, and then they have no choice but to speak from an authentic perspective, because they know the other party is there and may disagree. So bringing everyone together and having an open conversation will work. The other thing I want you to always think about when you keep in mind that caring about them as a person matters and that the work that they're doing matters, what is it that makes each individual tick? Is one person always punctual? Is one person really dedicated to the job? And I want you to draw those things out. So you're almost complimenting employees and saying, I know that you care about the quality of your work. I know that you care about being here and being part of the organization because I've seen that over and over again. So how can we get to a place where you get to do what I know you're really great at and you get to do what I know you're really great at? Now all of a sudden people are seeing that this can become a positive outcome. It doesn't have to be a fight, because now I've risen to something that's bigger, something that really draws into the vision of the company or the mission or the work that we're doing. And employees will grab onto that and see themselves as, wow, I am a part of something bigger. So when you allow people to let you drag them down into what I call a rabbit hole, everybody wants you to dive down into let's look at this situation and that situation, let's look at everything. You really get into a lot of trouble, because now someone can throw something new in there and you're in the middle of a mess.
Yeah.
But if you stay really strategic, if you talk about the goals and moving forward, everyone calms down, everyone creates a solution. Now, I always say this, some people have personality defects, and that's unfortunate. But generally speaking, 80% of the time, these techniques will help make workplace conflict a thing of the past.
Right. And I love that you're more of a mediator, and you're going to make it work, rather than what I see a lot of business owners doing is they've got this team that's at each other's throats, and the first thing they do is decide to split them up. They're just not even going to deal with it. They're just going to split them up and try and make that be the solution to the problem, and that really doesn't solve the problem. It may be causing other problems with more people.
Right, and it will definitely be a hit in productivity. What I think a lot of business owners don't realize, how you communicate to your employees makes or breaks productivity levels. So if you're communicating in a way that lifts them up and helps them see the work they're doing matters, productivity levels automatically go up. If you're ignoring the situation because you're at a loss for words, productivity levels go down, because that employee sees you and they know there's a situation and you're not speaking to them about it, and that automatically disengages them. Now, they may come to work, but they might be a little slower. They might be taking an extra break. They might be, wiping something down haphazardly. We really, as humans, we can't help ourselves. If we don't see you engaging us and creating an atmosphere that's going to lift us up and help us understand the work we're doing matters and that you care about us as people, we will naturally be slower. We will naturally be disengaged. We're going to be looking at job boards. We're going to be talking to our friends to see what other roles are out there that we might be interested in. It's something a lot of business owners don't make that connection. How I speak to my employees and also to my clients, that impacts how loyal they become to me and how much they want to continue to participate with me and my business.
All right. Well, it's such great advice. Thank you, Melissa. Now, Melissa and I collaborated a little bit. She did most of the work, but
she was like a slave driver. Get it done.
So she created what we call the Workplace Conflict Starter Kit. We have a version that's for commercial cleaning business owners and one that's for residential cleaning business owners, because they each have a little bit different situations. And so she goes through several scenarios, just like the ones we talked about today, common situations that cleaning business owners find themselves in. And what we don't want is for you to try and figure it out on the fly. What this is designed to do is to get you thinking before these problems come up. What kind of verbiage are you going to use? And we actually have started what we call a message guide, to where you're giving us some great verbiage to use.
Yeah,
so.
What I wanted to be able to offer to you is just really either copy, paste, and send, or print out and rehearse and deliver, so that you're not ever starting from scratch again about situations like a potential accusation of theft or a situation where an employee has broken something. How do you talk with the employee about the scenario, and how do you talk with the customer? Everything is intended to keep reputations high, perceptions high, so that you keep customers and you're able to draw more customers in and be profitable, but not have to sit and wring your hands and be like, what am I going to say and what am I supposed to do? Or worse, be silent, because you're not sure what to say, you don't want to make it worse, so you're quiet, because that will affect your productivity levels.
All right, absolutely. And so it's also designed to help you, once you work through the program, to actually be able to do this all on your own.
Right.
Because we can't cover every situation. So you're going to have things where you're going to be able to have your own process, and she teaches you how to do it for creating your own verbiage. So the links are below the video at cleaningbiz.tv if you're interested in the Workplace Conflict Starter Kit. And thank you so much, Melissa. I
Thank you
appreciate
for having
it.
me here. It's been a blast.
Thank you.